Hey friends and family. Those of you who've been watching my videos in sequence might know that in the recent videos I've been going through my collection and just finding decks that I completely forgot all about. I'm revisiting old decks. And I came across this one today. I can't even pronounce the title. It was created by, I presume, a woman by the name of Eva Francová. And it's called the Svatojanský tarot. And I don't even know what language it's written in, but it surely is not English. And I don't know if it's Russian or Slavic, or I'm ignorant to knowing what the language is. The box looks like this. It's an oversized box. It contains the book, of course. And then it's got, the cards were just loose in there. There weren't any wells or anything for the cards. It was just loose in there. If you have a clue as to where it came from, kosmas.cz. So it's the name of the website. It was Kosmas, kosmas.cz. And I don't even recognize any of the words to know what language or what country I bought it in. Czech Republic. Okay, so that's where this came from. Now, when I found it just now, I couldn't remember much. All I remembered was I was obsessed about finding this deck. I think it's because of something that will become clear while I show you the cards. But I became obsessed that I really wanted this deck. But it was one of the most difficult challenges I've ever had in obtaining a deck. I've had challenges with other decks where I had to jump through hoops and make friends with somebody in another country to have them send it to me, Those don't always work out, though, because after you pay for something and you're trusting somebody on the other end is going to send it to you, they might not, because they might not be a friend. That's happened too. But I do remember jumping through hoops, and it took a really long time to track it down, to even find somebody to sell it that had it. And then after I got it, I was gratified that I was able to hunt it down, because, sometimes the thrill of the hunt for these cards is kind of the fun sometimes, right? But then as soon as I saw the whole deck, I was like, why did I do that? Why did I try? Anyway, I'm going to show it to you guys. Maybe some of you will be enchanted by the deck, even for the reasons that I'm disenchanted by it. So let me flip the camera and we'll get started. Okay, so we see that we have what appears to be a deck in the TDM tradition, woodcut, very lively colors. Right? We almost have a neon yellow for his leggings, and we have all the traditional ingredients of the canine feline creature. Oh, here are the backs. So the names are correct, they got, they're not putting on any American or not American or any English words that are like occultist words or anything. I mean, they have the language correct, right? The images are correct. We have 8 for justice, right? Sometimes when people try to create TDM decks, but they're not really aware of TDM decks, really, they don't get this detail right, but they got this detail right. Isn't that death beautiful? That's a nice death with the color. We've seen these wings before. Was it in a païenne? We've seen the details of that in a wing of the Temperance card. I think it was maybe païenne. I should check. I mean, this person seemingly has studied tarot, which is probably why I was really attracted to it, because I thought, well, look at all these influences in this deck. And I'm sure that all I saw were the cards of the higher order, or the trump cards or the triumph cards. I'm sure that's all I saw. And I thought, let me have it. But what I wish I had seen were the pips. Because, as you'll see in a minute, we have illustrated pips. And I was so deflated. I was like, oh my God, I must have tried to get this deck for 6 months, you know? And then even after I ordered it, I had to wait forever to get it, you know? And then I was like, really? So I guess this could fall into the category of hybrid decks, except for the fact that once you have a picture, it totally overrides whatever the message of 3 swords or whatever might have, you know. It once the image is so powerful, you can't I don't care what they say. You could have all the charm of a, you know, TDM and the Triumph deck part of it, but as soon as you get to the pips, you know, as long as there's a picture, you know, it's going to override the swords and the suit. I mean, the suit and the number, right? And some of these cards, I don't even know what the suit is. I just know it's the 5 of something, and then you have to really, oh, okay, there's swords on the ground. I guess it's swords. So some of them are really tough to know what's the suit. And some you can readily identify the Rider-Waite-Smith card that it's emulating. I do think that the court card, the facial expressions of the court cards are very amusing. I do like their expressions, and I like their body image too. I mean, this guy's fuller. He's got a full body. Not everyone is beautiful and thin and they look like people you might know. Like, for example, this card here, it looks like a caricature of one of my aunts. And when I saw it just now, it almost like I was like, a little bit, you know, because kind of, you know, I mean, this is a caricature of her. It's like she was pretty. She was prettier than this. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, wow, look at who it reminds me of. So these cards, these facial images, expressions rather, and body types look like people you might know. They got so much of this deck right, and then they went and made the pips like a Rider-Waite-Smith. And, you know, I don't care what anybody says, you know, you're not reading with a TDM if you're reading with a deck like this. Because you're not, you know, unless you eliminate the pip cards altogether and just use the Triumph cards, which is fine. You know, a lot of people do that. But the texture, I like the texture a lot. It's got some kind of coating front and back that feels very satisfying. It's like almost like a waxy finish. Maybe I'm judging it too harshly. I guess I'm judging it harshly because I was so like looking forward to this, and I wanted it so bad, and based on just seeing the higher order cards and just feeling like, oh gosh, this deck is going to be beautiful. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And then I got through the Triumph cards and I got to the pips and was like, what? Here's my boyfriend. Now see, he looks like somebody you could know. They all look like people that we might know. We have the overhang, that in some decks, I believe, became a window. I've never read that anywhere. It's just my opinion. It's just my observation. For those of you who like Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, however, you might just like this deck because it's just different enough to be interesting to you. But I wouldn't con anybody into believing that if you get this deck, it's the same as reading TDM, because it's just not. I give it high score for the Triumph cards, and I give it a high rank for the court cards. I like them a lot, I like them. But, I'm just disappointed in how it turned out. I guess I could read them. I mean, I know I could read them. It's just that I don't know if I would, want to read them. I think I was just so upset that I put it away and was like, ugh, be careful what you wish for, And I kind of put it away angry. I do think that some of the pip cards tell interesting stories. At any rate, I think I'm going to do a demonstration reading with this nonetheless. So look for it in a couple of days. I'm sure it'll be read like I'll interpret the higher order cards as they appear as TDM. So I'll use TDM meanings for the higher order cards. And then for the, whatever cards show up in the spread as pips, I'll interpret them as they appear to be on these cards. The reason I think I'll do a demonstration reading with this deck soon is because I've noticed a few people that look familiar to me, and one of the people I noticed in this deck it made me think I'll do a reading on that person who has passed away. Okay, friends, until next time, peace and stay well.